Welcome to the 8th grade math homework helper series. Tonight's homework is F-4, comparing functions. For number 4, we have to determine which linear function has a greater rate of change, and then explain how you know. So we're going to determine first the rate of change, or the slope, for the equation, and then we'll take a look at the graph. For the equation, it's pretty simple. We know that in y equals mx plus b form, the m is the slope, and so the 2/3 sitting where the m would be is our slope for the equation. If we take a look at the graph, if we look at these 2 points on the graph, we can determine the rise and then the run, which is going to be the amount that y goes up and then x goes to the right in this case. So we can see the rise is 3, or the y value is 3, and the run is 2, or the x value is 2. So that's going to give us a slope with y over x of 3 over 2. So we have a 2/3 slope and a 3/2 slope. Now, the answer to that then is the graph's rate of change at 3 over 2 is greater than the equation's rate of change at 2 over 3. For question number 8, for 6 through 8, we're going to compare the rate of change and then the y-intercepts of the functions. So looking at question number 8, first thing we need to do is we need to determine the slope and the y-intercept. So in order to do that, we need to figure out what the rate of change is for x and the rate of change for y. So if I go from -9 to -3, I have a change of +6. If I go from -3 to +3, I have a change of +6. If I go from 3 to 6, I have a change of +3. If I come over to the y side, going from 1 to 3 is a change of +2. From 3 to 5, also a change of +2. And a change from 5 to 6 is a change of +1. So, looking at this, and if I look at all of these rates of changes and compare them, that gives us the rate of change over y, the rate of change over x. So I have 2 over 6 equals 2 over 6 equals 1/3. Well, all of these could reduce down to 1/3, so that indicates that my slope is 1/3. I can put that in there. Now I need to know my y-intercept. Well, there's 2 different ways you can find the y-intercept. You could use the numbers and the rates of change that you've determined for the x and y to help you figure out if x were 0, y would be something. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't work, you can set up a y equals mx plus b equation and plug the slope into it, because we do know that, and take one of these equations, one of these sets of coordinates, and plug them in for x and for y, and that'll tell you what b equals as well. But in this case, this works out pretty nicely actually. I'm going to take the ones that are closest to 0, the x value closest to 0, and in this case -3 and 3 are both equally distant from 0, but I'm going to use +3 and +5. So if I take the 2 of them and I realize that my rate of change over here is a ±3 for my x, and my rate of change for y is a ±1, that means that to go from 3 to 0, it's going to be one move for me, because I can move 3 places in one jump and go to 0. And if I do that, I'm going to move 1 place on this side, and that's going to give me a 4 for my y value. So that tells me that my y-intercept is 4. So now I know the slope and the y-intercept for function j. Now I need to figure it out for function k. To get the slope, I'm going to use the points on the graph, and I'm going to use 2 points that are closest together. So I'll use these 2 points over here. And I see that this goes up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have a rise of 1, a run of 4, a y of 1, an x of 4. So that tells me that my slope is 1/4. Now I still need to determine my y-intercept, but it's actually easier to do that on a graph than it is to do it on the table, because I can see my line crosses through the y-axis at that point right there, point 3. So that tells me that my y-intercept is a 3. Now that I know all this, I can make a comparison of the 2. Function j has a greater rate of change because it has 1/3 versus 1/4. 1/3 is greater. and it has a larger y-intercept at 4 than function k at 3. So that's the comparison I'm able to make. And now we're going to move on to question number 10. It says one function has an equation in slope-intercept form, y equals x minus 3. Another function has an equation in standard form, x plus y equals 3. Explain what must be different about the properties of the functions. Well, you should notice that this one is in y equals mx plus b form, and this one isn't, but we need it to be in order to really make a comparison. So I can subtract x from both sides, which is going to give me y equals negative x plus 3. So now I can compare this equation to the y equals x minus 3. So the fact that these two, I have a positive slope, I have a negative slope, that tells me that they must have opposite slopes. Please use the homework that was done for you tonight to help you to answer the additional problems that are on your homework. And remember, the key to success in math is not only working hard, but working smart.